a sari twisted like a noose, a knot tied with surgical cruelty, right on the victim's neck. This was his signature. For a year, 9 women across 9 villages were found strangled with their own saris, a symbol of tradition, now a weapon of death in the hands of a madman. The cases piled up. Fear spread, and just when it seemed random, one cop noticed something terrifying. The killer had been right there, every single time. And then, silence. The murders stopped. People exhaled, until he struck again, but this time he wanted to be seen. So, who is the Saree Killer? Why did he kill only women in saris? And why, after months in the shadows, did he finally step into the light? You're watching Criminally Curious, where the darkest crimes are brought to light. And this is the story of the Saree Killer of Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh in India. July 2nd, 2024. Anita Devi left her parents' home in the afternoon, planning to return to her in-laws' house. Her son couldn't come to take her home because he had some work in the fields. So, Anita Devi decided to go back early by herself. It was a journey she had made many times before, so nothing to be worried about. But this time, Anita Devi never reached her home. By 8 p.m., when Anita Devi still hadn't arrived, her husband and son began to worry. They called out her name, looked around the nearby roads, and checked every familiar spot they could think of. The village lanes, the small paths through the fields, the market area. But there was no sign of her. Now, their minds raced with fear. They hoped she hadn't met that dangerous man, the killer everyone in the village was afraid of. That fear soon turned into a nightmare. News spread quickly that a woman's dead body had been found near the sugarcane fields close to the village. When Anita Devi's family rushed there, hoping to find her or get some answers, the body was already taken away by the police for an autopsy. They then showed Anita's husband some identity papers, Aadhaar ID card, and other proofs to confirm the terrible truth. The way she was killed was shocking and cruel. A part of her sari, once casually draped over her shoulder, had become the weapon. And the moment this particular news spread, the quiet village near Bareilly was suddenly swallowed by extreme panic and fear. Because what happened wasn't just tragic, it was hauntingly familiar. It reminded them of something that terrorized the 9 local villages to their core just some months ago. So, everyone had the same horrific question in mind. Could the Bareilly Saree Killer be back? Because the unspeakable things he did last time were still alive in everyone's mind. It all started with a call that shattered the calm at Shahi Police Station. It was June 2023. Kalawati, a 50-year-old woman, was found dead in the endless stretch of sugarcane fields at Pratappur village. No signs of struggle, no known enemies, just a strangled life silenced within a moment. Police scrambled to piece together the puzzle, but no clues came. While they thought it was just one single murder they had to solve. Barely 2 weeks later, the grim routine repeated. And this time, Dhanwati, also 50, was discovered dead by a roadside near Kosa village. Again, there was no clue, no idea of motive. The police chalked it up to 2 separate tragedies, nothing more. But on June 28th, everything changed. Another woman, Premwati's body was found near Anandpur, and this time the killer left a chilling mark. A part of sari knotted tightly around her neck, like a deadly ribbon sealing her fate. It was as if the killer was sending a message, a signature so cruel and calculated it froze even the most seasoned officers in place. By that time, after 3 back-to-back murders, fear spread like wildfire. 4 bodies, then 5. Each victim found in a different village, each taken the same way. Kusuma in Kajuria, Veerawati in Jwalapur, and so on. The villages grew quieter, streets emptier, women stepping out only when absolutely necessary. And the killer was still out there, like a ghost. The police felt the pressure mounting. But the worst part? The police didn't yet understand that these murders were linked by more than just method. But after the 5th body was found, everything went quiet. The police found no clues. And for 2 whole months, no more murders happened either. People thought maybe the nightmare was finally over. The women, who had been too scared to leave their homes, started stepping outside again. Until this happened on October 31st, 2023. A villager went to the sugarcane fields of Lakhimpur village to do something, and found the body of a 65-year-old woman. Her name was Mahmouda. The interesting part was, she was wearing a simple salwar suit. This time, the killer had strangled her with her own dupatta, the long scarf she wore with her outfit. The tight knot on the side of her neck was like a clear Easter egg to the nightmare the villages just recovered from. And that way, it started again. Less than a month later, on November 20th, another woman, Dularo Devi, was found dead in her own fields in Rasni village. She too had been silenced with something that belonged to her own clothing. Then, just 6 days after that, on November 26th, the body of 63-year-old Urmila was found in Jagdishpur. Same style of murder. Clearly, someone was targeting women again in a very specific way. It's either the same killer or some copycat killer who's following the same method of the previous one. Even the police were shocked and scared, because without any clues, they felt lost. Every time they tried to investigate one murder, another would happen somewhere else. It was like the killer was always one step ahead. Now, if you look closely, you can see a pattern in these crimes, and you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes for that. The pattern is simple. All the victims were women over 45 years old. Not a single young woman died. All the murders happened near fields outside the villages, and all the women were strangled with their own scarves or dupattas. It's like the killer was using something very personal, something that belonged to each woman, to take their life. But for the police, seeing this pattern wasn't easy. These murders happened in 3 different areas: Shahi, Shishganj, and Fatehganj. These places were spread out within about 25 kilometers of each other. So, for someone who studies the cases all at once, like you or me, the pattern is clear. But the police had to deal with each murder separately, in different villages. So, to them, it's like trying to solve a puzzle without seeing all the pieces at the same time. As a result, the police couldn't connect them as easily as we did in this video. Still, the police tried. They arrested 3 men, hoping to stop the killings. But surprisingly, even after locking these men up, the murders continued. The police soon realized these 3 men were innocent, and the real killer was still out there. And then, the breakthrough came on July 2, 2024, with the murder of Anita Devi, the murder we started with. In this killing, the killer made a final, fatal mistake. It was the one that finally gave the police the clues they needed to connect everything. And from that point, everything changed. Because the police realized they were dealing with a serial killer, someone who was methodical, careful, and dangerous. Not someone random, but someone who had planned these crimes. So, to stop him, the police started a special mission called Operation Talash. In it, 22 police teams worked together, searching every village, every field, every dark corner. They even traveled far from their village to the big city of Mumbai to get special training and learn from expert criminologists, people who try to understand why someone would kill like this. And after all this training and studying, the police made a plan. They decided to send female officers into the villages where the murders had happened, and to the nearby villages too. These officers would live like normal village women. They would work in the fields during the day, wake up early, and go to bed early at night. They would pretend to be from those villages, as if they had lived there their whole lives. This way, they hoped to get close to the killer or find clues to catch him. It was a risky plan, no doubt, but everyone knew it was the best chance to stop the killer before he could hurt anyone else. Still, a question stayed in everyone's mind. Would the police catch him before it was too late? Or, this time, a female police officer will be murdered. Meanwhile, days had turned into weeks, and the trail was growing colder by the hour. They had scanned footage from 1,500 CCTV cameras, installed 600 more, and questioned countless villagers. Sketches of possible suspects covered walls like a grim gallery, yet not a single solid lead appeared. It was as if the killer had suddenly vanished into thin air. Then, a break came out of nowhere. A security guard, calm but firm, made a call. He had spotted the man they were hunting, right in his own village. The police dropped everything and rushed to the spot, and then they caught him. Turns out, his name was Kuldeep Kumar Gangwar. To understand how he became what he was, we need to peel back the layers of his life, to the home where he grew up, to the shadows of his childhood. A different type of chilling story. Kuldeep was from Nawabganj, a small village where everyone knew everyone else's business. He had 2 sisters and a father named Babu Ram, a man torn between 2 wives. Babu Ram's first wife was alive but hated the second wife fiercely. Naturally, the household was a battlefield, and young Kuldeep watched the fights unfold every day like a silent storm. His father's rage was terrifying. He would lash out at the first wife, hitting her while Kuldeep sat frozen, absorbing every painful moment. From the start, Kuldeep struggled to express himself. Words were jumbled in his mind, feelings trapped inside like a locked room. But one thing he knew with crystal clarity: his stepmother was a force of cruelty, and he despised her deeply. Years passed like that, but the emotional torture never stopped. In 2014, his father pushed Kuldeep hard to get married, hoping a wife might fix what was broken. But this was clearly a wrong decision. Kuldeep also started beating his wife, echoing the violent patterns of his father. At first, she stayed silent, trying to hold the pieces together, but when the abuse became unbearable, she ran away in 2018. And that moment shattered Kuldeep. Without a job, without a home, and now without his wife, his hatred boiled over. Women became the target of his fury, a cruel shadow for his pain. Drugs and alcohol numbed the pain, but they only dragged him deeper into the darkness. He wandered from street corners to the houses of his sisters and uncle, a broken figure lost in his own mind. Everyone knew Kuldeep was unstable. Out of pity, they fed him scraps and gave him worn-out clothes. He became a forgotten man, living on the edges of society like a dying flame. But how did this broken man cross the line from lost soul to killer? What suddenly snapped inside Kuldeep's mind to unleash such horror? This is where the darkest part of this story is yet to come. Kuldeep never used a vehicle or a bicycle. Whenever he traveled between villages, he walked on foot. What does this simple fact mean? That he knew every road, every field, and every corner of those villages like the back of his hand. In June 2023, Kuldeep was heading to one of his sister's houses. As he walked, he spotted a woman working alone in the fields. Without hesitation, he approached her and started talking. But then something twisted happened. Kuldeep asked her for sexual favors, an ugly, unwanted demand. No wonder the woman refused him outright, and that refusal didn't sit well with Kuldeep. He lost control and attacked her instantly. He strangled her, using a part of her sari to tie tightly around her neck, making sure she was dead. Then he ran away, leaving her body behind. This was the beginning of everything. In the future, it was the pattern he followed every time he visited his sister's or uncle's villages. He would watch closely for any woman alone in the sugarcane fields, because the sugarcane fields were perfect hiding spots for anything. Be it hiding a dead body or doing any sexual activity, it's tall, thick, and dense, so no one outside could see what was happening inside. Kuldeep knew this well. Whenever he saw a woman alone in these fields, he would approach her and make the same sick request. If she refused, the outcome was always the same. He would kill her. If someone ever followed him or watched him closely, Kuldeep would back off and leave without killing anyone that day. He was careful, calculated, never reckless. The sugarcane fields helped him stay hidden. If you have no idea of how this field looks like, just imagine walking past a wall made of plants taller than a person, so thick you can't see inside. That's exactly what Kuldeep used to his advantage. He committed all his crimes inside those fields because no one outside could tell what was going on. But here's the strangest part. Kuldeep did have sexual desires. Yet, when the moment came to act on them, he never could. He lacked the courage. Instead of fulfilling those desires, he chose to kill. The reason was simple. He was frustrated, angry, and violent, but never actually intimate or passionate. And after every murder, he took something small from the victim: a bindi, a piece of lipstick, an Aadhaar ID card, or a piece of blouse. These were his trophies, his grim souvenirs. The police found these items in his possession after they caught him. Kuldeep confessed to 6 out of 9 murders, admitting to this twisted pattern. The truth is, Kuldeep's story isn't just about his crimes. It's about a man trapped in his own mind and choked desires, something that made him take lives instead of living one. But when his parents came to know all of it, they refused to believe it completely. He was the village's shy shadow, never speaking up, scared even of children. The kind of man who wouldn't hurt a mosquito, let alone a person. Everyone thought, how could Kuldeep, a man who trembled at the sight of women, kill 9 strangers? Even the villagers couldn't believe it. To them, a killer had to be sharp, cunning, someone who left no mistakes behind. And Kuldeep's character was not even close to that, according to the villagers. But there was no room for doubt, because Kuldeep himself confessed to everything. Even worse, he led the police to where the bodies were hidden, showing exactly how it happened. And all the while, he laughed, like it was a game only he understood. When asked why, his answers were strange, twisted, calling the victims dirty, his words stumbling over each other like a broken record. Currently, he's in jail now, waiting for his day in court on murder and related charges, so there's been no sentence yet. And ever since he was taken into custody, the killing spree in Bareilly has stopped. Now, psychologically speaking, if you look at him, you will see only a broken man, a frightened soul. But then, if you look closer, you'd see that he is not the one in danger, he is the danger. History has shown us the same pattern with others: Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, Otto Shankar, Cyanide Malika, killers hidden behind ordinary faces. Because sometimes, the most dangerous people aren't monsters in the shadows. They're the broken, unnoticed ones standing right next to you. But again, the question arises: why did no one speak when there were clear signs? Why did it take 9 lives for a pattern to emerge? And most importantly, would things have changed if just one voice had broken the silence? Tell us what you think in the comments. And if this story unsettled you, share it, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Because next week, we uncover another chilling case. And this one? It might just be closer to home than you think.